Hello and welcome back. It is just later in the day from when I closed out the last vlog, so we're just jumping right back into my storage project. I've done just a little bit of work so far and basically got this cleared out completely, so I am ready to go ahead and start getting my shelving put in. Alright, I've spent a long time kind of working this out, and I'm sort of changing my plans and figuring it out as I go. I knew that regardless of how I situated things here, one of these shelves would be partially blocked by the other. For the most part, I was able to avoid doing that down the other side, and that just generally provides much easier access to everything without having to move a bunch of stuff to access something in the back. So what I've decided to do is shove this one over, shove this one back, and at least for the time being, I'll store these Kichler Fandelier boxes back here. To access them, I'll only have to move a couple of things off of this bottom shelf. Unfortunately, it's a little less spatially ideal because I have this gap here now that is slightly too small for most of the shelving units that I have. I do have a couple of these sort of bookcase style shelves that would fit in here, so that is probably what I'll end up doing, and I can store light kits or generally smaller boxes on that. So it's not exactly the setup I was envisioning, but it'll definitely be better than it was before. So I'm just going to keep at it, getting set up as I go. This part kind of takes some trial and error, getting things to fit the best way possible. So I will be back to check in again in a little bit. This is actually not the worst. It's not great, but it's definitely not the worst. I decided to go ahead and throw this unit here, at least for now, because I need to clear out over here to get the second part of this shelving put in. And I also needed to get all that small stuff off the top of the pile out here. It was all kind of up sitting on top, and I couldn't get to anything that I actually need to work with here. So now I can go ahead and get into the bigger stuff. Alright, we have progress. Currently, it is not the most efficient that it could be. What will probably end up happening is some mixing and matching with things from the other side. It usually takes a little rearranging and finagling to get everything fitting just that much better, but for the time being, essentially all of my new in-box items are up off of the floor, and even as it sits, there's room for a couple more, so this will put me in good shape for at least a little bit here. I've pretty much got this area cleaned out for the second part of this shelving unit, but there's just not a lot of working room here. I think what I'm going to do is start throwing some of these portable fan parts up in the crawl space. That is where they are meant to go for storage, but it's just such a production to get up there. But I'm going to take the time and do it because that will open up a little bit of space in here where I think I can shove some of this over and give myself some space. Because while I don't have any more new in-box fans currently to store here, I have essentially run out of ceiling storage, and I've got a bunch of stuff just sitting on the floor. You can see stuff here that was recently in videos, stuff that's come down off of the display, so it would be nice to get at least some of that up off the floor for the time being. I also have just a bunch of other stuff that I need to generally part out and or get rid of. It's just stuff that's piled up from cleanup week and things like that that I just grabbed. So anyway, I'm starting to get short on time, so I don't know how far I'm gonna get, but hopefully I can at least get this stuff stashed away up in the crawl space. Okay, I've sort of gotten things jostled around again, and I've got this shelving set up. I'm sort of going to start wrapping up here, but I may take a few minutes and throw a few things on here. A bunch of the stuff I have laying around, like this for example, has a light kit on it. I'm thinking I may want to do some swapping and get stuff like that hung up on the ceiling, and I can pull down some of the stuff without light kits to put on the shelf. So that part of the process may become a little bit more involved. As I get the floor more and more cleaned up, these carts on wheels will likely sort of float in the center, much like they do on this side. I think at some point pretty soon I'm going to need to expand and revamp my blade storage, and I'm thinking maybe I will move that over into this space, kind of keep it on the outward facing edge of this area just to keep it a little bit more accessible. And there's a little bit more room here to maybe figure out how to do 3 carts in a row so that I don't have to do like 2 sides over here. because if I expand here, I'm going to have to go around to the other side, which I don't necessarily want to do. So we've really only just cracked this open. There's going to be a lot of upcoming reorganization. As I've kind of talked about, I got more or less moved in here, and now it's been the same for several years. A lot of things have shifted and changed since the initial move-in, so it's really time to go back in and start looking at what I can change to make it better. But I'm really pleased with this start so far. I feel like I have more room than I thought I would have, which is honestly a really nice feeling because I feel like I've been piling up so much stuff over the past couple of years. I really have not been actively collecting all that much, but between cleanup week annually and working with new products, those couple of things have kind of done a number, but we're going to get it back together. So with that, I'm going to head out for tonight. We are still in the holiday lead up, so I'm not sure when I'll be back, but I will hopefully see you soon. Hello, I am back. I think the only update I have is new glasses. Other than that, a lifetime of events have transpired since my last check-in. I prepared for Lightovation, I went to Lightovation, I came back from Lightovation. I'm still working on follow-ups and content and all sorts of things from that. Almost immediately upon return from that, I rescued a bunch of fans out of a local closed restaurant. Very significant childhood fans, and I have been working through cleaning and processing everything with those. And I just finished up with the last one here, the Craft Made Wellington. All of the Fascos are done. Those have already been going up live as I film this. But what I'm coming to now is a bunch of these new fans that I do want to put up on display, and I don't want to have to take them apart in the meantime. So I've got them kind of just stashed around in my temporary hanging locations. But these locations are just that, temporary, so I need to get them out of here. I've also had this Minka just sitting here on standby because I want to display it as well. So I think this one is also going to be in the next batch of priority to get up. But for the moment, I want to focus on the ones that are already assembled. So the Wellington is in the studio, absolutely no other places to put it right now, so I need to move it first. And I'm going to put it up right smack dab in the center of the display here. My plan here is a little early 2000s statement in the middle. The Como is also likely going to be part of that. And then I haven't thought too far ahead with the Charleston yet. I'm not even sure that I'm going to get there today. So for right now, I'm just going to focus on the Wellington. Alright, got it completely in control and all. This is all I have time for right at this second, but I might be back later tonight or tomorrow. I will see how things go, but I should be back relatively soon. Alright, I am back same night. I've been really getting stuff done today, so I'm trying to keep up the momentum while I've got it. I've got the Charleston thrown up in this location. I'm not sure if it's going to stay here, if I'll move it later, but this spot felt right for the moment, so I went with it. I want to try to get one more done, so I'm going to see if I can get the Como up in this location. I'll get the Vogue taken down, and then there really won't be much to see until this one is up, because I do have to assemble it down on the floor. So I will be back to check in once this is complete. Alright, this one is done, once again all the way down to the wall control. The only thing I did not consider is that this slightly larger blade span gets a little bit close to this one, so I'm gonna have to be a little bit more mindful for this replacement. But thankfully I haven't changed this one out yet, so no big deal. With that, I'm going to sign off for tonight, and I will see you back soon. Hello, I am back in very current time. I'm here to just slip in a couple of updates and then close this out. This one may be just a little bit shorter than usual, but there's sort of a sequence of videos I want to put out here. If I don't put it up now, it's going to be weeks and weeks before there's going to be really space to put it in. So it's not exactly ideal, but this is how we're doing it. So first of all, Omni came down, Trident went up. For whatever reason, I just really like this fan, and it goes with my early to mid 2000s theming here. This whole little section here is kind of like throwback to showroom of the time period. And then over here we have the other update. I believe multiple people requested this fan for display. To be super honest, I'm never overly enthusiastic about putting this one up because it's just not in the greatest cosmetic condition. But with display videos, there's really not enough focus on any one fan to see that kind of detail. And it has been highly requested, so I'm happy to make a little bit of compromise there. It also worked out well because, as I mentioned earlier in this video, this blade span was going to be critical. The slightly smaller blade span was definitely definitely a factor in the ultimate decision to go with this fan. So in the end, overall happy with that choice. So with those updates out of the way, I believe we are all caught up for the moment. We will go ahead and close out. Remember to subscribe and ring the notification bell before you leave, and I will see you next time.